welcome to the channel. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Now join me guys on today's video where we'll be looking at a very exciting micro brand called Draken Watches. They've sent me a watch in for review, and so you'll see at the bottom left hand corner it is a paid promotion. Now with regards to this review, they didn't contact me. I actually got in touch with them via Instagram. There were a few watches of theirs that did pique my interest, and what I want to do now is just quickly go over to their website and just show you a couple of the other watches that they do, just so you know why Draken caught my attention. Then we'll be back unboxing this and going through the review. Now here we are on the Draken Watches website. Now for those of you guys that don't know, Draken is a micro brand which started off around 2015, and they're a South African micro brand. However, the owner, Mike, he's actually based in New Zealand. So this watch came to me over from New Zealand. So let's scroll down and let's tell you what models actually really piqued my interest and what made me reach out to Draken to see if I could review the watches. So let's look at the first one. Let me just scroll through the range. So you've got a Benguela, a Kalahari, a Peregrine, and a Tugela. I think Mike did send me the Tugela. Now my initial request, I'll be honest, was actually for the Kalahari. I thought this watch just fantastic. So anyway, let's have a quick browse of what else Draken do. Now I gotta say, with the name Draken, I think it's named after Drakensberg. I believe it's a mountain range in South Africa, which means the mountain of dragons. But I do like the name Draken. I think it's a very strong, powerful name. I've got no issues with the name. But anyway, let's go on to the first model that we see here, which is a Benguela. It's an ETA powered dive watch, around $1,000 New Zealand dollars. I don't know at this current time what that actually means in US and Great British pounds, but I will put up the cost in the bottom left hand corner. But just to have a look at this, the close-ups on these watches, you know, it's got great build quality. Almost you can see that in the picture. You got a sandblasted blasted case on this one, and a zin like bezel almost. Now I do like the bezel, that sandwich dial. Very sharp details, very visible, and you know, a great use of colors. So that's definitely one. And the second one, which actually really did resonate with me, I do like watch brands, companies to actually think outside of the box. Now let's look at the model, the Kalahari. Now just zoom in here, just have a look at this sandwich style dial, and then you've got these skeletonized hands and the use of the complication. So the movement in this is the NE57 with a date complication at roughly around the 5 and a power reserve indicator. So it looks incredible. It's good that you know, Mike went this way with the movement, and it's a fresh take on a field watch. I definitely do like it, and the legibility, the overall dial aesthetics are fantastic for me. But just looking at the design, the dual crown design, so that means you've got an inner rotating bezel, this field watch. But I think this watch is very, very purpose built. That power reserve indicator almost gives you a sort of a safari feel, something that you would see as a fuel gauge when you're inside, let's say, a Jeep, a Range Rover, Land Rover, whatever, or a Discovery, you know, going through the Sahara. So I think I do like watches which are built around a theme, and definitely with this Kalahari, around 900 New Zealand dollars, that is the one that stood out, and that was my request. And we've also got another one, the Peregrine, which is another sports field watch, and I think again looks very nice, DLC coated, and it looks like a very robust, solid watch at $900. So yeah, so the one I have got, the Tugela 3.0, so version 3. I believe this is what Mike has sent to me, and as you'll agree, it is a very striking dive watch. So it does look like it's packed full of features. So let's go back, let's have a look at the actual watch and see what we make of it through this review. Anybody wanted to purchase one of these, I think there's a 15% off code, True Grit. So if you want to go on to Draken Watches, you can put that code in. I'll leave it in the description. Hopefully, I'm assuming this code is still working as it was included in the box. So check them out. But let's open up the box. Let's see what Mike has sent me. So you do have a very nice leather. Now I'm not too sure, I'm not a leather expert, if this is genuine leather or PU, but let's assume it's genuine. You've got a leather pouch here, very solid, good bit of protection for your watch. Of course, you've got the contrast stitching as well. So let's open it. It does feel quite weighty. I'm assuming it's packed out. So yeah, so first impressions, there seems to be quite a lot of kit in this. So let's have a look what we have at the top. We've got a Draken tag. I believe this is one of those iron-on tags. Nice. So you've got a leather strap here also, with a big buckle, Draken signed. And you've also got a black and red NATO. And you also have a card here, or an envelope should I say, which says the model number, Tugela, serial number, the date of purchase. Well, of course this watch wasn't purchased, it has just been sent out. You've also got a little instruction manual telling you exactly how to use the movement, actually also how to apply the straps and remove spring bars. Okay, so now we have some more branding, Draken. Lift that open and boom, there we have it, the Tugela by Draken Watches. So quite substantial, you know, bit of heft on this watch. So a quick look, clasp, very bold dial, very bold, bit of red on the dive bezel. A very interesting watch, I gotta say. Now if you go back to the Draken website, this was actually I'd say the cheapest watch on there. So this one started at 580 New Zealand dollars. Now that converts to roughly 420 US dollars, which means it's around 300 British pounds. So for around the 300 pound mark, what do you get? Well, 300 pound with Draken will get you an NH35 powered watch with 300 meters of water resistance. You'll also get a 316L bead blasted stainless steel case construction, bezel, crown, including the bracelet. And you also get a single dome sapphire crystal with inner AR coating. And you also get a 120 click unidirectional diving bezel with an aluminium insert. Now let's look at the dimensions. So you do have a 42mm diameter. You've got a 14mm thick case and a lug to lug of just 48.5mm. You've got a 22mm lug width, and the watch does weigh around 212 grams. So decent specifications and decent dimensions. I think this watch is aiming for around that 7-inch wrist, although it should fit my 6.5-inch wrist. And I'm wearing my Marine Master by Proxima. So of course, this is a big enough watch as it is, so I should have no problems wearing this one. So right, let me take off all the plastic and we'll start looking a lot closer at this watch. Okay, here we go. All the plastics have been taken off. Now let's have a closer look at the Draken Tugela. So let's start off obviously by looking at the dial. Now you can see it is a very bold and very legible dial indeed. Everything does stand out quite a lot on it. Now what Mike and the team at Draken have gone for, they've gone for a very distinct dial pattern, especially when it comes to the hour markers and the indices. Now on the website, it does go into detail to say what these markers at the 12, the 6 and the 9 actually represent. I think it's based off a flower. So I really do like a bit of inspiration gone into watches. I do like to hear reasons as to why you know, certain brands have gone for X, you know, Y and Z, or different kind of design aspects. So, you know, they get points for that all day in my book. For very striking and not so traditional hour markers. These are actually applied Lume, the hour markers, and I believe on the website it states they've gone up to 10 layers strong using C1 Superluminova. You've also got the Draken logo at 12 o'clock. As I said already, I actually really do like the name. And you've got a dragon emblem in a shield. So let's move the hands out the way. Let's unscrew this actually. And then you've got Tugela automatic, which is of course, and just above the 6 o'clock, which is also a date window, which has also been color matched. So they've got orange placed on the dial on the tip of the red seconds hand, on top of the automatic, that text Tugela is orange, the circle around the date window, and also the frame around the minute hand. So I do like how they've kind of matched the orange to the black. Now the matte dial with the orange and the indices, again, very striking, visible at almost every angle. You've got a printed minute track also incorporated with the dial, so that gives you accuracy. You've got no issue there. And the handset, so these are plongeur style of hands. So, you know, we see those oversized dive watch hands that are quite famously on, let's say, the Omega Pro Pluff, but you've got a slight different shape. So and the second hand is closest to the Black Bay with this sort of diamond. Does it work? I'll say it works. You've got, you know, straight lines, you've got a few polygons on the dial, triangles, you've got some unconventional indices. So I think it's, you know, different. It's got a bit of character, which adds to this uniqueness and gives it, you know, a unique look, because it's hard to stand out in especially this current market. You know, that £300 mark is very, very saturated, so you really have to do something different to stand out. So I think they've done something there. Now let's move away from the dial. Let's have a look at the lume. Let's see how good the lume is on this watch. Check that out. So, you know, they're not lying, even though they've only used 10 layers, ample lume. So you've got a fully illuminated bezel down to the dots just before the 20, and all the markers are very visible. The hour markers on the dial are clearly very visible, and so are the markers on the hands, the second hand. And also you can just see at the bottom that date window, the date wheel is also lumed. Now, I've not shone the UV lamp on this. This is just purely from the UV lights. Now, that's a great comparison to let me know how good some lume is. Now, this is actually very good. Incredible lume on this watch. You know, that's something definitely I can vouch for you to pick up this amount of lume. And if I were to hit it with that UV, it'll definitely glare out the camera. But that's not the only trick. We've also got lume on the crown. Let's show you that. So there you can see the watch on the side. You've also got a signed crown, which is being illuminated with the same C3. That's definitely a nice touch, and we can see more brands coming out with these extra touches. So that is definitely something that which you will appreciate. All right, so far so good. Yeah, specifications tick, definitely. The dial, big tick. There's no quality issues on the dial. Very nice looking dial, great handset, good color combination, lume, tick. Now let's turn our attention to the bezel. Now, as mentioned, it's an aluminium bezel insert, but I won't let that take anything away from Draken. You know, I don't believe you should always have ceramic, and if somebody went to go for aluminium, I think now it's for a certain effect, for a certain feel, something just a little bit more vintage. And I do like the fact that this is fully lumed. Yes, it's gonna scratch easier, but you know, that's okay, it's not a problem. Now it's a 120 click unidirectional diving bezel. Let's just have a look at some of the features. Just look at those striking teeth on the bezel, something quite different. That looks really well made, looks really well done, and yes, there is quite a bit of grip. So let's check out the rotation. Very, very precise bezel. Good feel, but as you can tell by the clicks, very tactile feel and very precise and tight. You're right, there's no back play, no back and forward. Alignment is great, lines up, spot on. So another tick for the Tugela. Now let's turn our attention to the case. Now, as I mentioned, this is bead blasted. Now, as always with bead blasted cases, you know, you don't get that shine, you don't get that polish and brushing that really stands out. You do get a very one kind of finish all the way around the dial, all the way around the watch. So, but looking at the case shape, I do like how they've done the lugs. So there is quite a bit of attention to detail around the lugs. You've got some great chamfering here present. some facets that give the lugs a really pronounced shape. Now looking at the crown guards, also again that sort of double chamfering, if you will, that 3D effect follows the watch around the whole case. And you've got the Draken stamped across the watch. Now I know there's going to be a lot of Invicta inferences made here. I don't know how I feel actually with names you know, plastered across the side of watches. Now personally, you wouldn't see it. I don't have a personal issue with that. I can see why people would mind, but you know, each to their own. The fact that if Draken want to obviously brand their watches across the case, go for it. But I think there will be a lot of people there that would prefer it without. But you know, subjective, purely subjective. But side profile of the case, it is quite different. It looks very good. Gotta give them that. I love this 3D type of chamfering, you know, great bit of detail present on the case. And I think with the absence of, you know, the polished edges and the brushing, it allows you to actually pay attention to the shape of the case. Now, of course, let's look at the crown. I love that knurling on the crown. I do, you know, knurled crowns are very easy to grip. And in terms of function of the crown, yeah, seems fine. Threads are nice and smooth. But that knurled crown does give it a very tool-like visual, first of all, tool-like aesthetic, but it feels good as well. You know, it's going to be very easy to operate. Here's a close-up of the logo on the signed crown. Case back. So there is a stamped case back. Let's have a look. Draken. And I believe this is that mountain range that we were talking about. So on the case back, you've got the serial number 789, sapphire crystals, some specs, Draken Tugela. Yes, giving you the name of the watch. It's nice. It's nice to see, you know, something different on the case backs. I like to see a theme around it, and this is where I think microbrands are really succeeding. Okay, let's turn our attention to the bracelet now. So you have got female end links here, which is, I think, automatically going to go down as a hit amongst the fans because everyone does like these. And you've got these smaller links for, of course, better bracelet articulation, better comfort on the wrist. But looking at it, it is quite a thick bracelet. I'd say that's easily 3.5, 4 mil, if not more. Sand-blasted links. I do like these half links. They add incredible comfort. Now, how are these secured? It looks to me like these are, yes, split pins. Split pins, depending on the thickness of it, they can actually be good. I find them very easy to size the bracelets, and I don't actually mind split pins. Now, you've got Draken across the flip lock clasp, 6 micro adjusts, and it is indeed a milled clasp. So solid end links, solid links, as is the standard, and I think that is a pretty well made watch. Only thing left is to try it on and give you guys a summary. Take this off, put you down there. Now, I haven't sized this. I don't know how you guys feel about that. You probably will go mad at me, but whatever. You know, I think it's just time consuming, guys. It's time consuming. Got a lot of stuff to get done, so I do apologize in advance. So slap that on, and there we go. The Draken Tugela. Now, fit. So as I said, my wrist is 6.5 inches. Now I think I feel with the aesthetics and the build of this watch is probably better suited for a 7+ inch wrist. But saying that, the lugs are only 48.5 mil, so definitely you can wear it, and it's not very thick. I've seen thicker. I'm actually in fact wearing a watch which is thicker, comfortable. You know, the weight's going to be 200 something grams, but I haven't sized it, so if I take off quite a few of these links, the comfort, it will get lighter, of course, and increase the comfort. Great wraparound, as you can see here, but of course we know that with the links, and it is a great looking bracelet. Now you just saw a flash of the AR coating, and that is exactly how AR coating should be. It's not overpowering at all. You've seen the dial in its entirety throughout the whole video, and I'll say yes, it is a good looking watch. Now, because they sent a couple of straps in, I will do a strap change to the leather to see how it looks. Okay, so I've used the leather strap that they have supplied. It's okay, it's decent, you know, it is real leather. And I think with leather straps, brand new ones, it's very hard to give an opinion on, apart from the obvious. But you know, they do take time to wear in, and I think that's where leather really comes into on its own, you know, depending on how the leather gets worn in. Bit of orange stitching, and you've also got the big buckle which says Draken. I like the buckle, and you know, leather straps, yeah, does match, and it does suit. But you know, leather straps, they need quite a bit of wearing in for them to look actually quite decent. So let's summarize. Price, £300. 200 meters of water resistance, sapphire, NH35. I'd say it is on the upper end of that price bracket. This watch from Draken, yeah, I think it is affordable. I think it is worth it. But I know people are going to say that now with the Miyota coming out, 9000 series, it make it even better value for money, or it better justify the price that this watch warrants if we went for the Miyota 9000 series. And I think that's where it is now. It's not Draken's fault or Mike's fault or anybody's fault. What it is, as time's gone on, this Microbrand started in 2015. Helm started in 2015 as well. As these Microbrands were coming along, you know, that £300 price bracket, £500 was incredible, blowing people's minds. But as it's gone on, we've got a lot of Microbrands from Singapore, from Hong Kong, from the eastern side of the world. It's kind of starting to reset everything. It's increased a hell of a lot in competition, of course, you know, with increasing factories, etc. It's very easy for me and you to actually make a watch brand now, or a watch. So all that being said, it's brought the affordability of watches right down. It's very, very easy now. So that's why the value for money is always going to increase. You're always going to want more because you see other brands doing it. So they've got to remain competitive. And I think this watch is built well enough. It's different enough. I will say this, it's not, out of the watches that they sell, it's not the one I would choose. I would choose the Safari, or the one that I looked at first with the ETA movement. I don't remember the name. But again, I think it's different enough for a dive watch. Everything else is done well. You know, objectively, it is a good watch. As I said, specs, tick. Dial, tick. Bezel, tick. Lume, tick. Case, tick. And of course, you know, the strap, tick. I have not seen any issues anyway. I would make a slight recommendation for, as an opportunity for improvement, it would be, of course, drilled lugs. With so many straps, and now I think it's just the standard now to put drill lugs in. I really do hope, Mike, you watch this review and you want to give me the Safari so I can have a look at that. So hope you guys like the review, and let me know your thoughts in the comments, and whether or not if you agree with that summary, and what is your comments on it, and then I'll see you on the next video. Thank you for watching.